Women in business leadership are transforming the landscape for women in the local mining and industrial sectors, inspiring the next generation to emulate their success. The upcoming Electra Mining Africa, the largest trade exhibition in Southern Africa for mining, will include a significant presence of women-owned businesses and female leaders. This event will take place at the Expo Centre in Nasrec in Johannesburg from the 2nd to the 6th of September. Let's now unpack this further as we're joined by Cillia Molomo-Mphephu, who's an engineering and management professional and the director at the Centre of Engineering Excellence, Charlene Hefer, who is the exhibition's portfolio director. Ladies, good evening and a warm welcome to you both. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us. Perhaps, Charlene, let us start with you. Talk to us about Electra Mining. What is it all about? And why did you think such an exhibition was necessary for the mining space?
Oh, thank you very much, Kakleku. It's so nice being here tonight. Electra Mining is a really special exhibition. We have over 40,000 square meters of exhibits. That's 950 exhibitors this year. There's actually the biggest one in history. It brings together the entire mining, industrial, manufacturing, automation sector under one roof for 5 days. And I think that's what really, really makes it so special. And then, of course, you can't discount the impact that it has on the country's finance. According to UFI, which is the International Association's Industry Association, exhibitions in Africa contribute $3,800 per square meter to the local economy. And we have 40,000 square meters, so that's a total contribution of just over $150 million. Excluding the increase in exports and capital equipment that we see after the event.
That's quite a significant contribution. I mean, we know that the mice industry really does have a big contribution towards a lot of the economies within the African continent. Cillia, perhaps maybe let's bring you into this conversation. As a mining professional, just talk to us about the journey that you have taken on, especially as a woman within this industry.
Greetings, Katleho, and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. I must say I'm not in mining, however, I'm in engineering. I'm with South African Institution of Mechanical Engineering. We are looking out for the interest of mechanical engineering professionals. And indeed, the mining sector is using a lot of our engineering equipment. And perhaps just to venture into what you are asking about my journey in the profession, I have to mention, where exactly it has started. For me, it's a journey that has started from over 30 years ago in the backyard, in the makeshift workshop of my father in the backyard of our home. That was in the rural Limpopo at a place called Hachweni, Tuhwaneng. I was my father's pedal girl. When he wanted to, assess the tail light of his car, I would be, the person to jump into the car and press the pedals, the brake, the clutch, turn the lever for the indicators and all that. So eventually that became my way of life. And from there, the journey just started from there, and went to tertiary to do engineering studies. I finished and I went to a workplace populated with or dominated with males and all that, and the rest is history. But then along the way, I happened to really fall in love with physical asset management that talks to engineering equipment that is being used in mining sector. It's being used in whatever the sectors of engineering, and that is how my journey started in this profession.
So from being daddy's pedal girl to sitting in the positions that you currently sit in, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you've experienced, especially that it's not so common for Black women in South Africa to take up spaces, especially in the engineering space?
Okay, for me, fortunately, I never considered myself as a woman in engineering space. It may just be strange, but when I went to tertiary to study engineering, the system that assessed performance of both males and female was gender neutral. So I was measured exactly the same way men would be measured. And as a result, I mean, when you're working on an engine, you're working on an engine. It doesn't matter whether you're a woman or whether you're a man. The stereotypes are there, but I think my world was just so fascinating. The engineering world was so fascinating, so much so that I didn't have time to remember that I was a woman. When I went, or rather when I walked through the gates of my first job, that was in 1994 in Dinal. And I was taken into the auditorium called D4, where they had the engine of a commercial aircraft there. I completely forgot that I was a woman. I was fascinated by that engine. I didn't know that something like that existed because I was used to the tiny engine of my father's car. Now I'm, open to this big world of massive engines and all that. So I focused on what I was in the engineering profession for, and that helped me to acclimatize, or rather to even, find excitement in operating in that space, because the systems were fascinating and all that. And I could, choose to, understand that, okay, I'm a woman, there are many men and what, but I didn't really see how did that fit into the purpose that I was called for in the engineering space. So I'm not sure if I attempted to answer what you asked.
I think you most certainly did, and I think it's also quite inspirational that you saw it as a job, you saw it as a task, and you did not differentiate between it being done by a man or a woman. Speaking of that, Charlene, especially in Ramaisela, speaking of the influences that she had from her father, where she was then exposed to engineering from a very young age, how much of a role of education does this exhibition play for young people that want to get into the space?
I think massive. There are so many opportunities to learn, and we really make an effort to focus on that. So we have a skills development day where we provide an opportunity for young people to come through. Even just walking through that exhibition and interacting with all of those exhibitors, you will learn instantly about all of the various fields, from what Cillia was talking about to automation, to power, to electrical, and that can spark that little bit of interest that grows that career for that kid moving forward. Whether it's artisanal, whether they want to go and study a degree, there's opportunity on both sides for both men and women to come to electromining. And then there's conferences, there are free to attend seminars. There's specific day dedicated to the ladies. So if the ladies want to come through and just learn about mining and learn from these powerful women in mining and engineering, that opportunity is there for them.
And what challenges do you often come across, Charlene, in putting together these exhibitions and just getting the education and the awareness out to the right people to attend some of these exhibitions?
I think it's really, really tough. And if you ask me today, I'm absolutely exhausted after 3 weeks on site. We have been struggling with everything from power to bringing in the massive machinery that won't even fit through the gate, breaking down fences to get it in, putting down rubber mats to not damage infrastructure. So there are so many, problems that we deal with on a daily basis that we have to solve. And it's just great watching the team, watching them learn, watching them take on these challenges. And then at the end of the day, on the 2nd of September, watching those doors open to pretty much one of the biggest exhibitions we've ever had in this country.
Ramaisela, I mean, you mentioned that you are 30 years into the industry of engineering. You'll be speaking at the Electra Mining Africa Expo next week. Just talk to us about how you've seen the evolution of the engineering space, especially for women, especially in the tone that you said earlier on that you did not see yourself as a woman getting into this industry.
Indeed. Thanks, Katlego. The evolution of women, I think I was very lucky that at the time when I entered the profession, it was right at the same time when the country was when the democracy just became alive in this country. And many of the laws were promulgated then. I remember with the OSH Act in 1993 and the LRA and all those other laws thereafter. And therefore making it, quite a habitable space, if you like, for women. Because if you start looking at things like how engineering was done back in the days where we believed it was for people with big muscles and people who could pick up stuff and stuff like those. And when the OSH Act came in, then it came with regulations on, how to pick up stuff. I mean, you had threshold. You couldn't just go and, want to pick up a drum full of whatever. So we had, lifting laws and stuff like those. On the other hand, we had the LRA talking to, workplace issues like, how treatment at workplace and stuff like those. And therefore really going a long way in terms of trying to make the environment doable for not just for women, but for everyone. So it was very interesting as well to see women starting to take up professions in engineering and staying in there. I mean, if you know why you are in that profession and you have your goals, all of them ticked up, for your achievement, and you chase them, you should be able to, because whatever that you want to do is cushioned by the fact that there are laws governing that, there are regulations
that will assist in that regard. All right, Ramasela and Charlene, thank you so much for your time.